Hi, I am Artur, this is Pablo.
Hello.
And we are going to talk about gravity force. I'm going to start talking about Isaac Newton, who was the scientist who discovered this force. And I'm going to tell the story about how he discovered and that he was sitting in his garden under an apple tree when suddenly an apple fell off the tree, and some people say that it fell right on his head. And so he asked himself, why did the apple fall to the ground instead of floating? And he realized that there had been a force that had pulled the apple to the ground, and that this force had been exerted by the earth. So he started to think if this force could go far from the earth and be the same force that keeps the moon in the earth's orbit. So he studied, he started to think, and he discovered this gravity force.
Einstein was one of the greatest minds of the history. Didn't agree with Newton. He said that Newton's theory wasn't complete. He just resolved the math problems and explained a little bit, but he didn't explain completely how it worked. So Einstein tried to explain everything. He created the general relative theory. So he said matter and space-time are with each other. So they both are relative one each other. And you can imagine like this paper being in the space-time and matter. So one object fall above this, above the paper, you cover the paper making this attraction force. So any object who is a smaller object who fall above the paper will attract by the big pen. So this is the general relative theory, and even so it isn't proof, and it didn't work with small objects, no, if atoms or other things, microscopic.
I'm going to talk about zero gravity now. In fact, it doesn't exist. Gravity never disappears because when astronauts are in space, the Earth keeps the moon on its orbit. So the force that the Earth exerts on the astronauts has to be much stronger because they are much closer than the moon. And what happens is that the gravity just gets weaker when we are far from the Earth, and then even people can exert gravity because all objects do, but it's a small force. And when we are in Earth, we are subject to all these forces that all the objects exert. But as the Earth is much closer and bigger, it masks all the other force from the other objects.
And now we explain the G-force. So the G-force acceleration due to the gravity of the Earth's surface. This example is the G-force of an object in a place with no gravity, in a vacuum place, will be 0G. The human terms of G-force depends on the magnitude of the force, the length, the time, the direction, and other things. There are experiments who prove, I can't remember the exact number, but I think it's 18 G-force about 30 seconds. Well, the human being wouldn't survive. He would pass out and die.
So thanks for hearing us, and bye bye.
Goodbye. Bye.